What once helped you survive can begin to shape how others experience you. That's why self-awareness is not soft work, it is sacred work. Relational blind spots are subtle but powerful. Ready to grow with resilience, clarity, and confidence in leadership, career, and faith? Welcome to The Next Move. I'm Orvin Kimbrough, CEO, author, and founder of The Thriver's Path. I went from foster care to the CEO seat, and here's what I learned. Transformation doesn't start with a title. It starts with your next move. How you reframe your thinking, reclaim your agency, and rename what's possible. If you're done circling and ready to step forward, you're in the right place. Let's make your next move your best move. Welcome back to The Next Move, the podcast where we explore faith, leadership, and personal growth to help you take your next step with purpose and confidence. Folks, I'm your host, Orvin Kimbrough. Today, we're talking about a hard truth every leader eventually has to face. It is not always the technical gap that stall your growth. It's not always the technical gap that stall your growth. Sometimes it's the relational blind spots you haven't learned to see yet. Over the course of the last 3 podcasts, I've been talking about relationships and relational capital. Every one of us has a blind spot. Every one of us has blind spots. That space between who we believe we are and how people actually experience us. And most of those blind spots don't show up in spreadsheets, dashboards, or strategic plans. They show up in your presence. They show up in the way you enter a room. They show up in how you handle tension, in the tone you use when pressure is high, in the energy your team feels after interacting with you, encouraged or exhausted, strengthened or diminished, clear or confused. And here's the part we don't always like to admit, at least I don't. Your blind spots leak long before they erupt. People often sense something in us before we are willing to name it in ourselves. They feel the intensity behind our words. They feel the defensiveness in our tone. They feel when our feedback is really frustration. They feel when we are using work to avoid what is weighing on our soul. And I know something about that. When you have lived through hard times, when you have had to fight to survive, when you have learned to push to produce and perform your way through pain, you can carry that same intensity into leadership without realizing it. What once helped you survive can begin to shape how others experience you. That's why self-awareness is not soft work, it is sacred work. Relational blind spots are subtle but powerful. They sound like interrupting without noticing, taking up emotional space without making room for others, avoiding hard conversations while pretending you are keeping the peace, dominating decisions instead of inviting collaboration, responding personally to neutral feedback, or sending mixed signals about expectations and then feeling frustrated when people miss the mark. This is why Psalm 139 matters so deeply for leaders. Search me, O God. Search me, O God. Search me, O God. See if there is any offensive way in me. That is leadership work. That is Thriver's work. It is the willingness to be examined, to be revealed, to be refined. The Thriver's path begins with self-awareness because you cannot transform what you refuse to name. Oh, I hope you caught that. And many leaders spend years defending what God may be trying to reveal, defending what trusted people are trying to help them see, defending what could actually set them free. So here's a simple but powerful Thriver's move. Ask 3 people who see your leadership up close, just 3. What's one thing I do that gets in my own way? And then just be quiet. Just don't talk. Just be silent. Listen. No justification, no rebuttal, no emotional gymnastics. Folks, just listen. Because leaders who face the truth, well, they grow. Leaders who run from the truth, well, they stay stuck. They stay behind. Talented, but limited. Gifted, but guarded. Capable, but capped. Your influence expands when your blind spots shrink. I'm going to say that again. Your influence expands when your blind spot shrink. And your blind spots shrink when you allow God, trusted people and honest reflection to show you what you cannot see on your own. That is the inner work of leadership. That is the refining work of leadership. And that is how thrivers rise. If today's episode spoke to you, I want to invite you deeper into the work of becoming whole, conscious, self-aware leaders through the Thrivers Path, my ecosystem for people who refuse to stay stuck. If you are in the Thrivers Path, thank you so much for your partnership and your personal commitment to developing. You can read the full blog, explore more leadership tools, or grab a copy of Twice Over a Man, either at orvinkimbrough.com or Amazon. If you're watching on YouTube, or hit subscribe and share this message with someone who's growing in their leadership. If you're on any of the podcasting channels, please leave a review. It helps spread this mission to faith-based resilient leadership. Thank you. Your next move matters, and I'm honored to walk with you. Thanks for spending time with me on The Next Move. I hope today's reflection helped you see your situation differently and reminded you that you're not stuck, you're being strengthened. If this episode resonated, share it with someone who's standing at the edge of their next move. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss what's ahead. For deeper reflections, tools, and guided pathways for growth, visit orvinkimbrough.com and explore the Thrivers Path. Until next time, remember, every small step taken with intention moves you closer to the life and leadership you're becoming. Let's keep moving forward together.